Episode 17 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 was undoubtedly the best anime episode that I've ever seen all year and one of the best directed episodes of all time. So good in fact that it quite literally destroyed Mappa, and you will understand why as you watch this video. This episode was beautifully stunning and just absolute cinema. In today's video, I wanted to highlight the direction of this episode, as well as the differences between the anime adaptation compared to the manga, and take this from the perspective of a die-hard manga fan of Jujutsu Kaisen. Mappa absolutely cooked. Or I should say that the animation staff cooked. All of the artists, the key animators, the Genga artists, directors, storyboarders, sound designers, voice actors, they cooked. And you can certainly feel that watching this. Studio Mappa executives and the higher ups over there, folks in the scheduling department treating these animators like complete dog shit and overexerting them is just not cool and borderline inhumane. This isn't anything new in the animation industry, but Mappa is notorious for how they treat their staff. And if you really haven't heard the news already, a lot of the staff are now speaking up about this mistreatment and the mess of scheduling, and even calling for these episodes and projects to be delayed so that these artists have a healthy amount of time to finish their work. Some animators are saying that it is over and the production schedule is in complete shambles and episodes are being completed mere hours before their release. If you wonder why the animation staff can't just take a break and get the time to finish their work how they want, when they want, there are certain parties involved like Toho and Shueisha who have contracts and are working with Mappa to make sure that these episodes get released on time. And you know, it just comes down to money. It costs a lot to change TV time slots and air dates. That delay time is money out of their pockets that they could have had, and those top brass are not losing their money. The schedule is set in stone, but the animators are clearly saying a different story, begging to get time to actually do the work that they used to love to do. But now it's become such a mess that many of them don't want to work under these conditions anymore, and these animators are the ones suffering because of the pressure from these companies. It is sad that they get treated like this, and it's really not a whole lot I or anyone else could do to solve these problems other than to tell you brothers and sisters about it and let it be known about all the problems that Mappa is facing and going through despite how successful they are in animation. Unfortunately, this problem is arising at the peak of Jujutsu Kaisen's Shibuya Incident arc adaptation, and the timing couldn't be worse because who knows what direction these last 7 or so episodes of Shibuya are headed down. I doubt this is the last masterpiece episode, but if they rush things, it will become apparent and the quality will just unfortunately tank. I can only hope that they pull through and give it their best. But we need to talk about this spectacular episode. The Mappa staff put everything they had on this project. Low-key, this episode was not supposed to happen, yet the team achieved the impossible and made it happen. Yeah, my brothers and sisters, episode 17 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 destroyed Mappa. They cooked so hard, I don't even know if they can cook like this again. And just as a little inside joke, when Sukuna and Mahoraga fought in this episode, an animator actually confirmed that in this bit, the actual in real life animation studio of Mappa was literally destroyed in their battle sequence. What absolute mad lads. However, what is it about this episode that makes it so spectacular? Let's take it from the top. Right off the bat, the episode echoes Wasuke Itadori's words to Yuji almost like a curse to save others. Then it contrasts directly to Sukuna, which is incredibly cold, and it foreshadows his breakdown later in the episode. Then we get to Megumi's opening section when he makes his big move, and this is notably where the episode cuts the most corners right at the start. Despite this episode's incredibly stacked cast and animator list, there are some poorly drawn segments and still PNG shots that just shave seconds and minutes even off the episode and make the animator's job easier. Megumi explains the conditions of his Ten Shadows technique, and he's about to set up for his greatest Shikigami yet. In the manga, it was mostly dialogue, so I'd understand why the staff cut corners here, but it's obvious in some sequences just how bad it can be. However, the character acting and direction is pretty great. When Megumi steals his resolve and unleashes Mahoraga on Shigemo, the background lights flicker, the environment changes tones, and Mahoraga is actually sealed and unleashed like some divine divine deity. And I'm not gonna lie, Megumi probably doing the most pulling Mahoraga out on Harata freaking Shigemo. I know Megumi was on his dying legs, but bro gotta be the top 5 most fodder sorcerers in the series. Megumi would probably pull Mahoraga out if someone cut him in line, but my guy is ready to give it his all. Then we see him, Mahoraga, or aka Makora, a divine Shikigami who holds the Dharma Chakra wheel. It's up, cause Mahoraga stand on business. He is the CEO of Smoke. Just let me run down the stats. Mahoraga is big as hell. As a rough estimate, let's say maybe like 12'3". He's built like he benches entire city blocks and clocks in at around 3,500 pounds of beat your goddamn ass. They call him the Divergent Scylla because he will diverge your head from your body. This is Megumi's most powerful trump card, yet the worst part about it, yeah, it kills him too. Makora fights anything that moves, and not a single 10 Shadows user in history has ever tamed it, leaving Megumi and Haruta in a deadly ritual in order to attempt and tame this beast. But ultimately, Sukuna has to step in and get involved and kill Mahoraga in order to void this exorcism ritual. Yet notably, this is where the animation makes its mark. Right off the bat, the fight pops off and Mahoraga makes the first strike. Just like the manga, Sukuna starts off with just a taste. He uses his basic dismantle and Mahoraga takes it. However, instead of its wheels spinning, he actually deflects the second dismantle strike, signifying his adaptation. This particular direction was cool because it's the first time in the series when Sukuna has to give a little bit more of his attention to his opponent and study him because he's never seen anything like Mahoraga. The anime adds Sukuna casually grabbing popcorn and soda while he analyzes Mahoraga's abilities, and this really just shows how unserious he is about this fight and his general distaste for all things boring. He's not satisfied just yet. Mahoraga is for sure the major highlight of this 8 to 9 minute battle, and it's a lot of back and forth that the animation staff added, and it really shows their creativity because they went off script, and it's probably an even better direction than the original source material. Immediately, Sukuna is blown away after his haphazard attack and completely ragdolled and big-bodied by Mahoraga, dragging his body across buildings. However, Sukuna keeps his composure, and he clearly is just playing around and testing to see just what this thing can do. Makora is literally swimming. Yeah, he's doing breaststrokes through concrete, and when he tries to grab Sukuna, Cleave severs his limbs and he just breathes in and blows Sukuna away with a gust of air. Nearly everything about this segment was animated frame by frame and hand drawn, including the backgrounds and stuff in the backgrounds, completely off script yet directed incredibly well, and Mahoraga chucks rubble, concrete, car, debris, everything. Then comes its next adaptation and Sukuna is just starting to figure it out. Bro, Mappa did not have to cook this hard, and the camera work and creativity with the different angles are very clever, and most of the time it feels like that you are a bystander witnessing this Shibuya incident. Contrasting to the manga, there is a lot of extra depth in the city. Shibuya is really alive. The lights flicker, the buildings continue to crumble, and innocent people are all around, women, kids, survivors. In the manga, we understand the casualties that happen in this fight, but watching the anime, you actually see and feel the dread and harsh reality that these humans are really just ants among giants just to be killed senselessly. This train sequence is especially brilliant as Sukuna's dismantle is used like a corkscrew, and it beautifully sets the scale for the city and their speed and just how obscene Mahoraga is in different angles. He's literally just multiplied 100 times in size here. But what sets it apart, what really makes this stand out, it's just a chorus of unimaginable carnage, death, horror, and tragedy of their battle, culminating into something that's quite frankly just oddly beautiful. We're at the 12-minute mark of this episode. I recognize some of this animation style from an animator called Vincent Chansard, who did some work for One Piece episode 1076, one of the best to ever do it. And man, it speaks for itself. Sukuna's grid-like dismantles, the camera bloom, Mahoraga emerging from the rubble, the astounding shot of Sukuna on the big screen, slowly making his moves, bowing down and applauding the work of his own hands, and even a random airplane crashing down over the city. I mean, I've never seen Mappa cook this hard with their storyboard direction. It's so ambitious and it works. It doesn't even stop there. There's 5 more minutes of this complete overhaul of artistic animation talent. Even the scene where Mahoraga crashed in a pool, adapted gills, and flew away was insanity. I don't even know how they did it. But finally we make it to Sukuna's domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, and that sequence animated needs to be studied. It is not even finished. Clearly the animation is missing things, yet its intent hits like a truck. They called it Malevolent Kitchen because he was cooking. It's so many moving parts to it, and the scale is otherworldly. Then we got Mahoraga, who has a much better portrayal in the anime as he walks through Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine attacks like nothing. He adapts to any and all phenomena, and his adaptation will soon be complete. Surprised, Sukuna gathers himself and switches to his fire ability that gradually engulfs Shibuya in an awesome display of Jujutsu sorcery, ultimately destroying Mahoraga along with the rest of the city. Again, the character acting was so subtle yet phenomenal, and that was a very cinematic climax. That was definitely their blood, sweat, and tears on full display for us. And in the aftermath, Yuji switches back and he's just left to deal with the guilt of killing thousands of lives in Shibuya that night. Junya Inoki, the voice actor for Yuji, did an absolutely fantastic job and perfectly captured Yuji in that moment with such a raw and powerful performance. Unfortunately,
you are my special.
yeah, this was blasted in the background, so that kind of took away the immersion for me, and I don't really know what they tried to make you feel playing that. Meanwhile, Yuji wants to kill himself, but to each their own. And finally, to end it off, Nanami is seen with half of his body burned off and severely wounded, yet he is alive. So surely next episode, it does have something special for us. This was fantastic animation. It was utterly glorious. To me, despite its imperfections, with what the episode tried to convey, it felt like a 10 out of 10. And what's crazy is that it's not really even the best that they can do. The director from this episode said that this was only 30% done. However, that's only because of the time that they had to work with, and this was 100% the very best that they could achieve under the circumstances. And let me tell you guys, this episode was so damn stacked with amazing animators from all over. I can't even name them all. And it's such a shame that this production was as good as it is, but it could have been even better, so much better, which is crazy to me because this is the best episode I've seen all year anyway. Hopefully, Mappa will choose to delay the future episodes and give these hardworking animators the time to rightfully finish their production, but it's really just not looking good. They gave everything just to release episode 17, and now they have another week to make more masterpieces. I don't know if they have the time or energy just to do that, and if it does get done, it's only natural that they're gonna cut corners. This level of crunch time from animators is almost unheard of, and I really hope that the team can deliver, and I hope that they can get the time that they need to complete Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 how it should. That's it for this one, my brothers and sisters. Make sure that you guys like and sub if you are new, and if you want to see more content like this, comment below what you guys' thoughts are. It is such an insane time with Jujutsu Kaisen right now. Crazy manga chapters, crazy episodes. I really hope that we can keep up this hype going, but this has been Enemy Stand User, and I'll see you awesome guys in the next one. Bye-bye.